You're live. Okay. I haven't done this in a while, so there's little updates. Now it says I'm live. So anyway. I'm live now. A minute before schedule, but that's fine. Trying to get all set up again. But it seems like things are working, so good to go. So welcome to the live stream. This is my, second live stream. I did a live stream a couple months ago, I guess, but I don't remember exactly what I did in that one. But it's the 20th of December, 2024, and I'm going to try and start doing some live streams. I'm thinking, it is a Friday, but I'm thinking going forward it'll be like Tuesdays and Thursdays. But it'll probably start, if I go to the calendar here, 2025, my kids, kids are at school and then they'll be out of school until I believe the 6th. So I'll start back up on the 7th of January and then the 9th and going forward just Tuesdays, Thursdays. Stream markers are the timestamps. Oh, you can put little, cool. And YouTube's popping up with things like bookmark this, do that. Anywho, hopefully the audio is good. And yeah, so I'm thinking Tuesdays, Thursdays, hopefully every week, all the way up to November, and then hopefully beyond. But so I think it was November of this year that I signed up for a developer account again, and I was like, because I'm gonna do something, gonna make some games, and so gonna high level, gonna go over a little bit of what I'm working on, and there's a link below. There should be a link below. If not, mention the chat, and I will put a link. Make sure it's there. But there's a Git repository where I'll be posting all the code, and for cross-platform, cross-Apple platforms games. So I'm not going to make it for the Watch. I'm not going to make it for the Vision OS. The Watch just seems silly for the type of games I want to make. I think there's some fun ideas possibly for the Watch, but for what I want to do, it doesn't make sense. For Vision OS, the simulator is meh, and I'm also, to make like fully immersive 3D scenes, I think I'd have to use RealityKit or build something from scratch. I'm not going to do that yet. So maybe someday if I get a Vision OS, I'll do that. But right now, my platforms for developing and releasing, and I've got kind of the bare bones functionality here working across all these platforms, is iPhone, iPad, Mac OS, and Apple TV. And on the iPhone and iPad, I've got virtual controls set up using Apple's game controller framework. So, and they seem to work good. I've been playing around with them. Physical controllers, so like I've just tested, I didn't bring it down. I've got a PlayStation 4 like DualShock controller, but it should work with the DualSense and whatever Xbox is and the MiFi or whatever they are. I think they're Steel Series, whatever. Several controllers, and so it should work across that. So those controllers should work on all devices. And then on the Mac, and I guess you could connect a Bluetooth iPhone, keyboard and mouse probably to an iPhone as well, but like iPad, you can set up that, so that probably works there too. But I've also got like the WSD, well, any keys I want to program, but excuse me, sorry. So anyway, you've got virtual controls, physical gaming controls, and keyboard and mouse support, and that all works in a first-person perspective kind of thing. And don't know why that's extra spaces. That's all there. And that's part of this. It's a SwiftUI app, so import SwiftUI. It's just a SwiftUI cross-platform app. And it starts out with a main menu view, which is a typical SwiftUI view. If you're familiar with that, if you're not, let me know. But SwiftUI just allows me to build out game menus and like heads-up displays, or like and I'm using that for like displaying notes. Like the player's going around, he finds a note, and it's like, ooh, that's all SwiftUI. And then this little function is a way I figured out how to, when I integrated the keyboard support every time you typed on the key, it made little Mac key sounds. I'm like, that's going to get really annoying really fast. So this is my workaround. And these are all my workarounds from what I know about programming and Googling and ChatGPT and all that crap. And I just hack a bunch of shit together, and this is what I get. But in 2025, I do plan. I've got this book. Don't know if it shows up there, but second edition is like a 20-year-old book, and it's in C++ and OpenGL, but the mathematics should work. I don't think the math has changed. It covers really good math stuff, so I think what would be fun is to eventually get into Metal and build out a game engine like that. But that's down the road a little bit. Right now I'm using SceneKit for rendering the actual 3D environments, and but hopefully as we go along, I will try to make things a little more modular, more separated, and so that I can kind of replace the SceneKit with Metal, but still not have to rewrite everything else. Like I'll still have characters and enemies, and all that will be separate. Also, like the input controls and game controllers, because I'm going to continue to use those frameworks. I don't see myself interested in making my own controller framework at this point. Yeah. So, I mean, this is the beginning. Trying to think if there's anything else I can cover. Oh, and I'm going to try to, again, Tuesdays, Thursdays, do live streams, but I'm going to be, since November, I want to say mid-November of 2024, because I've been doing off and on programming random stuff, and then the last 2 years maybe, I've just kind of been like, just kind of meh about the whole thing. But I was like, you know what I've always wanted to do, and the whole reason I got into programming was games. So 2025 is going to be all about game development. And then I'll reevaluate in November. Say, okay, have I made my $100 to pay Apple yet? Because it's $100 a year to publish apps on Apple platforms. But that $100 gets you publishing for the whole year, or for all the platforms and the whole year. But anywho, and I've been doing pretty much my whole programming career has been Swift and iOS. So that's what I like. It's what I prefer. So I'm not doing like Unity or whatever, or the Steam store, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, that being said, we're going to be building out across all Apple platforms, minus Watch and Vision, like I mentioned. Who knows, Vision might be in the future if I ever get into that, but not now. I'm trying to remember where I was going with all this. Anyway, moving on. Oh, yeah, so Tuesdays, Thursdays, starting January 7th, I'll hopefully start doing more live streams. I'll cover programming. I'm getting into Blender more. That's how I created like my textures, which are not in the Git repository because the files are too large. So I will start, the blend files should be, let me open up a blend file on this. The blend file for this should be super small. If I go procedural plaster, yeah, the blend file on this is a megabyte, whereas the images for this are 134 megabytes. So yeah, when I was trying to post this with Git, it was giving me all kinds of problems. It's like, file's too large. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. So I'll just include the blend files here in like a resource folder on there. And again, the Git repository is linked below. But yeah, so playing with like, I'm creating these materials in Blender using procedural stuff. I don't know, Chuck, and let me know if you're Chuck from, I can't remember your last name, if you're from LinkedIn. But anyway, I've thought about that a little bit. I know, or at least I've heard, that Swift was partially working on Windows, or they were working on it. Not 100% sure. I know Swift works on Linux, and I don't know what PlayStation or Nintendo use, because I thought PlayStation's operating system was kind of a Linux based. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about that, but that would be interesting, and my kids are very into Nintendo. But PlayStation and Nintendo would be interesting platforms eventually. I'm not sure if I'm super interested in Windows, but or did I say Windows? PlayStation and Switch would be interesting, but I don't know if I'd be able to pull it off using Swift, or if I'd have to learn like C++ or something. And that could be something down the road, but like a long, long ways down the road. So for the foreseeable future, yeah, I'm thinking iPhones, iPads, Apple TV, and Mac, which I've actually been enjoying playing around on the Mac with my little 3D first person. Oh, and if you want, I can run it and show you, because the games, the basics are here. Yeah, that'd be interesting to look into someday. But for now, it's Mac only, or Apple platforms. Yeah. Let's see. And I do encourage like chat and question. I'll try to answer things as best I can. Yeah, C# I think is what Unity uses too. Could be wrong, but yeah, if you learned like C# or C++, that would probably be a lot better option for like cross-platform stuff. I'm not terribly interested in cross-platform at the moment, but I think if I ever were to make a living doing this, then I would be a little more interested in like looking at PlayStation and Nintendo, because growing up, so my first console was a PlayStation 2, and I loved it. Mono game, nice. I've heard mixed and random things about Unity, and I haven't heard of this mono game, but I've almost thought about it. I was like, I don't know, should I do cross-platform stuff? And looked at Godot a little bit. I think that would be the way I'd go if I went that route, but you still have to go, if I want to put stuff on Apple's platforms the way that I would want to, I still have to go through, I'm pretty sure Godot has to run it through Xcode, and you have to put, like, I was like, I'm lazy. I already know Swift and Xcode, and that's what I want to do. But yeah, that'd be interesting someday. But I have wondered, I was like, would it be, it would be possible. I know that Swift lives on other platforms, but how much work would it be, I guess. But again, I suppose if I had a lot of time, if this was my job, maybe someday it would be interesting to find engineers or figure it out yourself, or figure out what it would take to get Swift running on other consoles, and that could be cool. But don't see that happening anytime soon, so yeah, it'll definitely be Apple stuff. But I will run this really quick, I guess. I haven't shown. Again, it's really basic at the moment. Okay, cool. Yeah, mono game. So is mono game just like a framework? No, mono game is a mid-level framework. Yeah, useful. Okay, interesting. Yeah. And I don't know if did I mention? I mentioned SwiftUI, which we're using for like menus and HUDs and notes and other elements. And if you hear snoring, sorry, that's my dog. She's sleeping on my lap. And he's bloated. Exactly. Okay, nice. And this is just a basic menu, like the settings button doesn't work and it's random. But this is my, just like a SwiftUI view. I'll show you the code for that if you want. Tap on play. And then we should load up to this nice 3D environment. And this is the materials I created in Blender. You can't go through walls, yay. Not using SceneKit physics because I don't know what's wrong with me, but I can't figure them out. So this is not SceneKit physics, but I thought these graphics looked pretty decent for, you know. And the lighting's kind of dim. The floor does not look good yet. I'm working on that. And then these floaty things were, so there's the Phantom Maze game I released, and it was pretty much using what you're seeing now, but it didn't work on Mac just Mac. Because Mac uses CG Float and iOS, tvOS, all the rest use Float. So I just had to do a bunch of like conditional logic for saying don't use CG, pick the right float for the right operating system. So this is a slightly altered Phantom Maze engine at the moment, I guess. And so in Phantom Maze, these floaty things right here were coins or orbs or whatever. I don't know. But right now, I just have them set up to read as notes, and they're not going to be this many all over, but you just tap the space bar, and that animation needs to be fixed, obviously. And this is just random text I had ChatGPT generate. I'm working on different... So the game I'm working on now, I guess, is going to be like hopefully a first-person horror-ish game, and you like find little notes and weird stuff, trying to hopefully make it dreamlike. But anyway, you tap spacebar if you're close enough, and you get like little notes, and you can see that it's probably random right now. That's going to be tweaked as well a little bit. Probably need to tweak the where it activates. Yeah, see if I'm over here, I'm tapping spacebar, nothing happens. But yeah, these are my procedurally, this one's not procedurally generated, but I'm going to play around with level stuff, but this is all just using a 2D array to lay out the walls. And then this is green space is a door. And if I go through it, I go go through, there's a little bit of hall there. I'm not the great, I'm like, I should grab the PS controller and play it that way, because I'm still not the best at like a keyboard and mouse setup, or keyboard and trackpad. But if I go through the green, oh, there it went. Why am I doing this? What is happening? Maybe my Mac's having a hard time streaming and playing the game and all that at the same time. I don't know. That was weird. Kind of frozen, caught up. Oh boy. All right, go over to Xcode. This is... And then if I switch it over to... I'm not going to do Apple TV here because Apple TV... I've tested it on the actual TV, but we go to iPhone. If I run it here, it's got the virtual controllers. I don't know if there's a little bit of a little slow. So I've only got the MacBook Air, the M1. So I've only got 2 ports. So I've got my MacBook plugged into a hard drive, and that's powering it. And then also the hard drive is where my second display is plugged in. And then I got my mic plugged into my MacBook. So limited ports, not a whole lot. Thanks, yeah. Hopefully it looks pretty decent so far. Again, and are you interested in like game development using Swift? Or are you looking at cross-platform stuff? Because that's another thing, and let me know. It looks like I got 2 viewers on here, but let me know, like, because I created the Git repository because I was posting stuff on LinkedIn, and people were like, oh, you should share the code. And I was like, I would like to share the code. Like, I know it's not great. It's kind of whatever at the moment, but hopefully it'll get better. But, like, anyone watching, what is it that you would like to see, like, to an extent? Because I am going to stick with SwiftUI. SceneKit, eventually I'd like to replace with Metal, but that, again, depends on time, and just I'm learning a lot. I need to learn a lot more about game mathematics. That's why I got this, and I'll show some other resources online that I'm looking at. But like, what would be helpful for you if all of you are developing games? What kind of code do you want to see? Right now I'm working on first-person stuff, but here I am on the iPhone. And then you can see I got my little physical or my virtual controller. So I go do, walk up here, and then I tap this instead of the space bar. Get up here a little closer. Oh, it's being a little laggy. And then I tap that, and then I tap that, and it goes away. And then I use this to rotate. So, a little slow on the simulator while it's streaming and all that. But so it works on the phone, works on the Mac, and it would work if I pulled up the virtual controllers. But like, what's useful for all of you so that I'm sharing useful stuff too. Yeah, so I guess I'd look into, like you were saying, the mono game stuff. For me, cross-platform, for what I'm going to be covering would be iPhone, iPad, Mac, and Apple TV. So maybe someday look into some other stuff, but that's ways down. Sorry. But I think there's a lot of game development channels, so hopefully, and I don't know, I imagine they put up the source code. I don't know. I haven't looked at a ton of gaming channels, but I'll show you the channels I have looked. And the reason is because a lot of them don't cover what I want to do. So yeah, let me show you what I'm looking at. So, and Freya, she uses, I think, Unity, or at least used to, I don't know. But she talks a lot about like the actual math behind things and really good stuff. In fact, I want to watch this because normal maps are super cool. Like I create these in Blender and then I bring them, like that texture you did see, those are just flat cubes in SceneKit. There's no detail there. And then I'm just using a normal map and I love it. It's pretty cool. But she's really awesome and hopefully I can learn a lot of math stuff here. I'm also using my math, like I'm not great at math, but I'm trying to get better at it. So I'm also using like Khan Academy. They have a ton of math stuff, so hopefully I can figure that out. And then for Blender, I've got several sources, but I also found this playlist. And if you want me to share a link here, because I mean this would work in hopefully any of your game engines building out, or I don't know where you're building out graphics, if it's Blender, Maya, whatever other 3D programs are out there now, I don't know. But this one was really good, I thought. It's he builds it out modularly, so it should work with my 2D array stuff, but I'm going to start going through this in the next day or two and start trying to build out my sets a little bit better. So this could be super cool, but... Oh, you're doing 2D? Okay, so you're using like Photoshop or Pixelmator Pro or Affinity or something, or GIMP or whatever those are. Yeah, I thought about 2D, and my first 3D game, Phantom Maze, is 3D, but uses a lot of 2D elements. But I was like, I suck at 2D. And I suck at Blender right now too, but I feel like 3D makes more sense than trying to draw. So these are kind of some of my sources, like this, like Freya and Khan Academy are for like math and logic. This one's for Blender, and then I've got other channels for Blender stuff as well. But that's that. Oh, okay, I've heard of that. The little sprite one, yeah, I've heard, that's cool. So you're doing like pixel art. I don't know if it does more than that, but when I saw it, it was for pixel art. But I guess it could be sprite. I guess it's any 2D image sequence. Anyway, that's cool though. So Chuck, you're the only one talking right now. Does anyone want to go over any of this? I mean, this is just the starter point. This is basic. Main thing here really is this function, which is just to get rid of keyboard noise. Oh, pixel art, nice. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if you've used SwiftUI or anything, but this is pretty, like the SwiftUI usage is pretty basic. I'm using my game scene controller, which is the main thing running everything, even though I've got controllers for input and level and all that, but It's just created as a state property. So then down here, if the game is active, which is just a simple Boolean property, then we go into the actual game view, and then game view, and again we have to have some different logic. Oh, this is the UI screen and the NS application shared window. So I want to figure out a way to kind of clean up some of this so I don't have this all over, because there's a lot of these pound if statements, but it's like maybe write some extensions or do something. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. I'll do, if you're interested though, I do have 2 different functions I created for dealing with color and image. And I am using SwiftUI to handle some cross-platform stuff, because it works across Apple's platforms, to handle things like color and images, because those are different on the different platforms as well. Let's see. So this is the scene view, which is really just what I use to display the 3D environment. So if you a view for displaying SceneKit content. And so eventually what I'd like to do is replace SceneKit and replace this scene view with a metal view, I guess, and start building out more advanced games. But again, it's down the road a bit. Still, I'm still got to work on graphics are time consuming, and I also got to get good sound. So that'll be a bit before I replace SceneKit, but long-term project. And this is the ignore get random. Oh, okay, yeah, this is I was creating like random nodes they can find. It's just a JSON array, and then I created this overlay for displaying it, and then the text view here just calls the function, because the function here, not that one, this function just returns a string. So, and again, I gotta fix the animations because the animation's a bit funky. Plus I want to add like an image or change it up a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there's definitely a lot more. So Windows revenue, are you thinking like publishing through like Steam then? Yeah. So hopefully this, and maybe this sounds dumb, hopefully this won't, like, I don't want like this to be a hobby. I want to make enough money where I can do this full time. And I think there's enough Apple users, iPhone users, and I don't know, maybe there's not enough Mac users, because maybe like the games, like these first-person games and other stuff I want to make, like, nah, nobody likes that on the iPhone, and maybe there's just not enough people on Mac that they care. And there's Apple TV, but I feel like nobody, I don't know. I think it'd be fun. I think it's capable, but I don't know. So maybe it's a dumb business idea on my part, but right now, yeah, I don't know. Play around and see what kind of I can do with that. Yeah, Steam. Okay. Yeah, Steam. I thought about that for a little bit, but I was like, I'm gonna try this Apple way first, and I guess if it doesn't work, then maybe I'll look at Steam a little more. So, but I was like, I wasn't loving it. From a tiny bit I looked into. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. And I'm curious to see once I start putting out games on Mac. Again, my early stuff's gonna be super basic, but I wonder, because Apple's pushing like games and stuff on all their platforms, and Mac especially, it seems like, or iPhone, Mac, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think, it seems like everyone gave up on Apple TV, but I'm curious if there's a lot of people, gamers on Mac, or if they're all on, I mean, sure there's some, but I get there's probably a ton ton more on Windows. And I noticed, yeah, like a lot of the games. That's another thing I was looking at, though. I was looking at several games, like, I wouldn't mind making a game like that, or that would be fun. But again, they're on PlayStation, Xbox, and Windows. And Nintendo's. Like, those are the consoles. And I was like, well, it seems like that maybe there's a big hole on the Mac side, or maybe there's just no gamers on Mac. I don't know. But I don't know. That's my random thought. Which is funny because game Apple used to be a pretty big one way back in the day. But yeah. Yeah, this is, what is this, start game? There's some hard-coded values in here. That's got to change eventually, but... Oh, I don't think I'm using floor node anymore either. See, some of this is not even used. I've been changing things and not getting rid of stuff, so... Command S, Command B. Yeah, I don't think that's necessary. So have you found some pretty good channels on like cross-platform? And I feel like there's a lot more sources on that too. A lot more resources for that, but I could be wrong. So thanks. Yeah. Good luck on your projects too. Hopefully you get some, if you get some stuff going on Steam, send some link. I don't have a Steam account, I guess, but it'd be cool to see stuff coming out. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I don't think I need these. So now we're down to one viewer. So I don't know if go into more details, like the game scene controller basically is just handling the rendering of the 3D graphics. Setting up my the camera control really isn't much at all, but the level controllers and the input controllers are the big ones. And then just a lot of random, oh yeah, like I said, there's a lot of random, checking for platform, and a lot of it, like I said, color and image is one thing, but a lot of it is this float to CG float. So switch back to Mac 'cause it's easier to test on. But yeah, CG float on Mac and float on all the other platforms. But what have we been doing? We've been streaming for 32 minutes. Okay. I don't have a ton to go over unless people had questions. Oh, I don't need this either. I was going to use SceneKit physics, but I've had so many problems with that. So I was like, screw it, I'll build my own. Kind of. It's kind of... Oh, and this is that color. I have one for an image somewhere too, but again, just a lot of this. I could probably simplify this too, actually, by just going if OS, Mac OS, do NS color, and then otherwise. So I could clean up. There's a lot of code I could clean up here. A lot of stuff. Low level input controller is pretty separate. It does have the game scene is the scene controller, so it's not technically. I mean, it's not directly, but I have the camera. Which again, I wonder why I'm doing it this way. I could get the camera from here. Anyway, this could be tweaked too and modified hopefully so it's not directly needing SceneKit. Trying to make my stuff hopefully render engine agnostic so I can swap that out at some point. If iOS, okay, yeah, on that one. For the virtual, because iOS would be the only, and iOS is iPhone and iPad, even though they call iPad operating system iPad OS. It's not actually a different thing. But hopefully that's a good start. I will start streaming in January again, probably, and go over and hopefully actually do like some coding or going over maybe building out or bringing over assets from Blender. Yeah. That's the plan. So I will say ta-ta for now, and see you all, or see who, if you're into like Apple game development, I guess. Let me know, or that's what I'm going to be focusing on for at least 2025, probably longer, or we'll see. But yeah, I'll see you all hopefully in January. Let me go and end the stream. And